voters in Liberia will go to the polls to elect a new government. Liberians will decide if incumbent President George Weah, who is vying against 19 other candidates, stands a chance for a second term. With over 1,000 candidates vying for various legislative positions, this election is very crucial. Join us on Tuesday, October 10, starting at 7 a.m. for live coverage of the general elections in Liberia with a team of producers, a network of correspondents across Liberia, election analysts and observers. We will bring you live happenings minute by minute on election day. Don't miss Liberia Decides on Tuesday, October 10, 2023 from 7 a.m. on West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM Dakar and online at WADR.org. Liberia Decides. WADR covers. This is the live coverage of the general elections in Liberia. Liberia Decides 2023.
Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM. Welcome to the fourth edition of a momentous event in the realm of West African democracy, Liberia Decides 2023. In the heart of Dakar, Senegal, we are thrilled to host the fourth edition of this pivotal electoral coverage on West Africa's trusted radio station, 94.9 FM. I am Tawfiq Abdul Nasir. Over the next few hours, we will be your window into the unfolding democratic process in Liberia, bringing you live updates, insights from our correspondents scattered across the country, and the voices of the people who are at the core of this significant moment. As Liberia embarks on this journey of choosing its leaders, we invite you to join us as we engage with voters from diverse backgrounds, sharing their hopes, aspirations, and concerns. Our lines will be open for live calls with experts who will shed light on the intricacies of this electoral exercise, providing invaluable context to the unfolding event. And in our studio, we are honored to host esteemed guests who will provide analysis and commentary on the evolving political landscape in the country. Liberia Decides 2023 is not just a radio broadcast, it is a platform for democracy in action. Stay tuned as we delve deep into the heart of Liberia's electoral process, offering you a front row seat to witness the power of the people and the future of a nation hanging in the balance. Yeah, so as the vote progresses, who are the main presidential candidates? Let's take a recap of that. We have the incumbent George Weah. The young and the poor were once inspired by the former footballer's rags to reach his story, which saw him rise from humble beginnings in Monrovia's Claratown slum. The 57-year-old's popularity has waned, though he is expected to do well in places like Bong County, a stronghold of Vice President Jiwad Howard Taylor. And then we have Joseph Boakai. The 78-year-old from Lofa County served as Vice President between 2006 and 2018. Mild-mannered but determined, he harvested latex for American rubber giant Firestone Plain Station, working as a janitor while studying at the College of West Africa. By the 80s, he had worked his way up into politics, serving as agriculture minister under President Samuel Doe, who was murdered in 1990, a decade after attaining power in a bloody coup. Then we have Alexander B. Cummins, a former Coca-Cola executive, the leader of the Alternative National Congress, joined forces with the Liberty Party in an attempt to rally the opposition under the banner of the Opposition Collaborating Political Parties, CPP. Having failed to convince voters in 2017, the 66-year-old hopes to use his decades of experience in business and philanthropy to lift the country out of poverty. Focused on economic growth, he has a progressive agenda in areas like business financing, women's representation, and eco-tourism. Now, taking you back to history. This August was the 20th anniversary of the end of the Second Civil War, in which half of the country was displaced and as many as 250,000 people reportedly died. In its final report in 2009, Liberia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommended that several individuals, including the then President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, be banned from holding public office and a war crimes court be established. But those recommendations were never implemented. Then CPP's Cummins has committed to establishing one. Weah, whose running mate is the ex-wife of former President Charles Taylor, has also promised to support the creation of a war and economic crimes court. In his manifesto, Boakai, who is now in an alliance with Prince Johnson, a warlord turned senator, promised to organize a national peace and reconciliation conference to pursue a genuine path for total reconciliation and recovery for victims, survivors, families, communities, ethnic groups, and citizenry. But Johnson has condemned the establishment of the court and had promised not to campaign for anyone who supports a war crimes court on multiple occasions. All right, so as Liberians are at the polls to elect a new government, the desire for positive changes in sectors of the country and more is at the heart of every single voter. Like other departments, Liberia's education sector has realized significant gains while contending with the emerging analysis in the country says understanding the gains realized and remaining challenges will enable policymakers and stakeholders to make informed decisions for further improvement. Peter Coley, a correspondent in Lofa County, has taken a retrospective look at the sector in the last 5 years.
The education sector in Liberia faces a complex set of challenges related to rebuilding and recovery from the Civil War constrained national finances and poor infrastructure. These challenges include poor learning outcomes, average enrollment, and huge number of out-of-school children, and wasted government resources attributed to the issues of unqualified and ghost teachers. Education in the country is challenging for primary students attending government schools due to inadequate and, in some cases, the lack of learning facilities. More parents prefer sending their kids to private school, which are often very expensive for the average Liberian. And indeed, the poverty rate is preventing thousands of students from acquiring higher education, thus increasing the number of unskilled young adults in the country. Some parents and students who spoke over the weekend just as they prepare for the election said the lack of finances in the country is causing them not to send their children to school. Others said the lack of teachers at public schools is causing their children not to attend, thereby becoming school dropout.
I'm not prepared because my parents are proud for money and follow work, no pay. Sometimes when you come home from work, you complain. I want to attend the Peterson school, but you said no. I will come back and you find money to put me in school.
How many of you that he has to send to school this year?
only two.
So what you think can be done so that the situation will be good for you to go to school without maybe putting you out?
My auntie said she will help us to pay some of the school fees.
I came to register my son. This year the difficulty we are facing is money problem. Like before then, my children been attending the college foundation for long, and we were finding things easier because money was in the country. People were having late job to be doing a lot of time to take your children to school, and now it was not easy. But this time, no job, no money in the country. So there's only rest formula we are doing to our area, and where we can get money from to bring our children, because if we don't send them to school, it will be a problem for us tomorrow. So this is problem that we are facing in the country. It's getting so hard that it's not easy. If you get one or two, if you have 2 or 3 children to send them to school, it's not easy on us. Well, maybe after election, maybe we're thinking that the country will change, because if we get a group person in a chair to maybe bring things down or the process of things down, the school fee and all will go down, and we will be happy continue with our children to go to school.
Regardless, Liberia has made significant progress in increasing access to education. Efforts such as the implementation of free primary education and awareness campaigns have led to a drastic increase in enrollment rate. More children, particularly girls and those from marginalized communities, are now attending school. The government consistently prioritizes expanding access to education, resulting in a significant reduction in the number of out-of-school children and improved enrollment rates at all levels. Policies promoting compulsory education and free education scheme have contributed to greater inclusivity. Also, considerable emphasis has been placed on improving the educational infrastructure in schools, renovation of existing buildings, and the provision of necessary equipment and facilities. Further studies show that under the administration of President George Weah, public universities and colleges are free of tuition for students who want to further their education.
Employment in terms of high school, junior high, and elementary, where senior high, minimum, you should have bachelor degree in education. Okay. If you have bachelor degree in, example, accounting, management, public administration, you should have a degree in education. So, and also masters. I always say minimum, you can have master. So you should have master in education, and that master, yes, if your payment for master is $525 gross United States dollars.
Students who are in primary schools ranging from 12th grade are not paying fees for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination.
Right, Peter Coley in Lofa County, Liberia, reporting there. So like I said earlier, I have a guest in the studio who will be doing some analysis with us here. That is David Sunday Jr., the president of the Association of Liberian Community in Senegal. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us, David.
Thank you.
Right. So, as a Liberian, how do you feel today? What is the feeling like, especially from emerging reports of what is going on in the country?
Well, as a Liberian in the diaspora, today being our general presidency and legislature election, it's a pleasure and I feel good to be on air. I also feel good, it's a pleasure being here. So when it comes to democracy, we Liberians and Liberia as a whole, as a democratic nation, we expect today the election, we expect a free, a fair, and peaceful democratic election. In regards to what we saw during the campaign period, let me firstly condemn all those election violence that occurred during the campaign period, because we Liberians, Liberia is our common denominator, and we all have to work towards the peace and stability of Liberia, knowing what we faced in the past. That should be a sign that we should not accept to occur again. So, as a Liberian, I encourage and want to tell all Liberians to keep calm as you go at the pool to exercise your voter right today. Follow the regulation and guidelines given you by the National Election Commission. Stay out of trouble, be peaceful, and cast your ballot. The decision Liberia will make today will determine Liberia moving forward or progressing, or Liberia coming backward. So, as all Liberia in the diaspora, to be precise, Senegal, Dakar, I encourage and want to admonish all Liberians: vote wisely, vote for a better Liberia, vote for change, vote for security, vote for good governance, accountability, and transparency.
Right, vote for security. Talk about voting for security. So prior to today's event, what were your fears, especially looking at unfolding events in the country and some of the threats that were issued? What were your fears prior to today's event?
Like I said, during the political campaign period, we saw so much of election violence from political parties, supporters, and it caused insecurity. That alone, that occurred, is a sign of insecurity. So it drew the attention of international community, even drew the attention of Liberians in the diaspora, looking at the reaction from various supporters of various political parties, knowing we all are Liberians today or tomorrow. It was so sad, and political statement bureau was to stand at the forefront and condemn the act of violence during the campaign period, because they are the leader of front and should have the authority to speak to their supporter to do the rightful thing, making them to understand despite the 20 candidates that register for that one position of president, despite they want to be president for the same nation, Liberia.
Right.
So the only thing we can do is to protect the country, is to protect the democracy, and to protect the peace.
Right. So talk about protecting democracy, and you earlier mentioned that Liberians should vote for peace, they should vote for security. So as a diasporan, do you feel disenfranchised in participating in the elections?
Well, yes, when it comes to participating in the election as Liberian in the diaspora, I feel disenchanted because we are Liberian in the diaspora. We have family members, we have loved ones, even we have more family and property back home. And we in the diaspora, we here for a certain time with the hope and expectation after we return home. So many people in the diaspora, many America and some other European country, they have an investment in Liberia and they play a very key role in the economy. They invest in the economy. Now until they send money every time supporting family, building houses and having other investment. So they are investing in the economy of Liberia. So wherever you are investing, you have to have power or decision making power. So we feel disenchanted show, and we are calling on the incoming leadership or whosoever will win as president in times to come to put the mechanism in place that Liberia in the diaspora will have a voting right to exercise in electing the president for the next years to come, 2029 or whatever. But we hope and we want to see that, because being in Liberia in a diaspora, whatsoever decision Liberians are going to make today, it will affect us directly and indirectly, one way than other, because we are investing in the economy. We have our family members back home. So definitely, whatever decision they will make, we not say because we are in a diaspora, will not affect us. We'll be making a mistake. Any decision that will be made today, it will affect both Liberians in Liberia and outside of Liberia. So I just want to challenge whosoever that will come, that will be the winner for this election today,
Right.
to think about this, that Liberians in the diaspora, we are appealing and we are asking them to put a system in place that the next election to come, that will be able to participate.
Right. So, I can see some smile on your face when you were mentioning, talking about whoever wins today. So, who are you rooting for? Would you like to tell us about who you're rooting for and why?
Really, as a patriot Liberian, I just pledge my allegiance to the country, and whosoever becomes successful today in election, those things that we expect, and you as a president, what you know you should have do or you should do for the country, and the expectation the Liberian people have, for which they elected today as president, you should provide for them. So that's
Right.
my take.
Okay. So, talking about who you are even rooting for, let's look at women representation in this elections. What do you make of women representation in this election?
In this election, we have so many female candidates that have vast standard bearer, of vast running mate to standard bearer of the 20 political party. For in the top three, like we are saying the top three in Liberia personally, we have the incumbent political party, the coalition of democratic change, and the United Party, and the All Liberian Party, CPP, CDC, and UP. George Weah, Joseph Human Bwaka, and Alexander P. Cummings. So, Alexander P. Cummings have a 5 running mate, Charles Broskin, who is a female, and the incumbent political party, CDC, have a 5 running mate, Joe Howard Taylor. So when it comes to women participation, our democracy is open. Apart from female being a running mate to standard bearer, when you look in the House of Representatives, in the House of Senate, we have so many females who are participating in the political affair.
Right. I will definitely come back to that. But before then, let's cross over to Grand Bassa County. Abraham Parker is on standby to give us the latest update in Grand Bassa County. Hello, Abraham.
Yeah, hello, and good afternoon from Liberia. Grand Bassa is
Right. Good afternoon, Abraham. How is it going so far?
Well, the process is on. Since we started this morning, it has been peaceful. There are other news coming up from other parts of the county and the rest of it. There was a downpour of rain. Some of the centers that in the rain have subsided, and then yes, the people are running back into the queue, and the exercise is calculated to rise as given them by the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. So of course, yes, the process is going well.
Abraham, I hardly hear you. There is too much noise at the background. We can't really hear you. I don't know if you can excuse yourself.
So I was working directly with some voters who have come to vote, so request back a bit.
So far, the atmosphere, looking at what is happening, how many voters so far do you think have voted?
Well, so the National Elections Commission has paid their own work had to place the voters into various perspectives, meaning Dakar County, being one of the biggest counties in the Republic of Liberia, having 5 electoral districts, they have to place them into perspective. So District 1 have more polling centers, District 2, so that's how the process is like. But so far, the turnout is very impressive. Since this morning, like I reported, 5 o'clock this morning, voters have turned out to be part of the process. So they have gone to the various wards where they had the final registration roll being posted. So they have to go there, and at the end result, yes, they verified and their names are there, so they have to get in the queue. So the process is on, but just one thing we've observed that has to do with the National Elections Commission staff.
Okay.
So what happened here is the staffers from the National Elections Commission intend to be an irregularity, a fault on the part when you have a National Elections Commission staffer who doesn't recognize, maybe, like, for example, someone's name is P. The last name is P, like, for example, my name, Parker Abraham, and then I'm supposed to go to a place where the P's are. And then the National Elections Commission staffer will take me into ARA, which maybe if a voter went there at that level where he's about to enter, if he's about to enter, then the presiding officer will tell him, no, you don't belong to the line, you need to go to the ARA line. So sometimes it creates a setback for the voters who are impatient. So yes, that we have observed. All of the centers we visited. So it is something that the National Elections Commission in times can need to work on, because it is important. There are people who will come, they are impatient sometimes, different family issues. Once they come to the area to vote, they just want to get it done and be gone. But it is taking a different trend where you go to the place when you are about to enter, then they tell you, say, okay, you need to go to where P belongs or where Arab belongs. And sometimes they see it not healthy, but the only result to either going back home. I had a conversation with more than 15 persons, and I had to stop them. As part of our responsibility, I had to stop them from going home and have conversation with the presiding officer to see how best they can find that rightful line. So, of course, yes, that's how the process has been.
Right. So looking at the picture you have painted right now, Abraham, has the Election Commission come out to explain the reasons for those mishaps?
Well, the only conversation you can have now is with the presiding officer. Now, the National Elections Commission headquarters is strictly in Monrovia. So most of the concerns cannot be easily addressed when you have a national process ongoing. So the only thing we can do is have a conversation with the presiding officer and make sure that the rightful, let's say, the corrections have been made, and that the people can get in the right queue to avoid bad feelings, to avoid people going home. So the National Elections Commission, of course, will not come out with any outdate now. That's why they have observation form. Once you observe something that is not right, just go and register your dissatisfaction, and then the presiding officer will see how best they can address it. So for now, this minor case is being handled by the presiding officers on ground.
Right. So looking at this situation, do you think the election would end, voting would end exactly at the stipulated time?
So yes, so the stipulated time is 6 p.m. as per the National Elections Commission. At 6 p.m., those who are in the queue, obviously they will vote. So once you are in the queue up to 6, they will close. Then those of you in the queue up to 6 will have to exercise your right. If it calls for you to go to 6, 7, when you're in the queue, yes, of course you will vote. So those who are the voters who are here are observing that, and then the National Elections Commission staff are also observing that. You have independent observers as well. They are observing that. All of the centers we visited, we saw police, immigration officers as well. Yes, so of course, if we reach to a center and maybe certain thing that is not right, like people are in the queue 6 p.m. and being stopped, of course we'll report on that. But as it stands, the law is, or the agreement is, as per the mandate of the National Elections Commission, once you are in the queue up to 6, you have to vote.
Right. Thank you very much, Abraham. We would
So
definitely get
before,
back. Okay.
yeah, before you go,
Mm,
there's this quick update
right.
that we want to give as part of this voting process. About 5 persons were injured when they were going to exercise their right this morning
Wow.
on the Basel Highway. They were being rushed at the government hospital in Buchanan. And then one of the centers called Biafra, one of the communities, uh, an elderly woman had gone to exercise her right as well, but then she fell off and then she was rushed at the government hospital in Buchanan. So that's the latest update. Normally during electioneering time, people are being transported to one point to another. So that's why sometimes you see these accounts coming up.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter. We'll definitely get back to you, and if there is anything, keep us posted.
Thank you. I'm on the standby.
Right. You are listening to West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, broadcasting from the Senegalese capital, Dakar, and this is Liberia Decides 2023. And of course, we are your window to every information that you need to hear about the ongoing elections in Liberia. So before we went on break, we were talking about women's participation in this election. Right. So, David, right now we have about, let's say, less than 7 women participating in these elections. Liberia is the first West African country to have a female president. So isn't that encouraging enough to push other women into politics?
Yes, that number is encouraging. Like I said, apart from the vast running mate who are female, we have so other ladies or women that are participating in the position as representative and senator in the upper and lower house. So women participation in our democracy is encouraging, and that can encourage young women of Liberia to take the bold step that they can become president tomorrow, they can become senator, they can become representative, like former President Harry Johnson said it.
Right. Or do you think something didn't really go right during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's tenure? That is why some women are not really into it. Is that a factor to, drive them not to, venture into politics?
No, I don't think anything went wrong. Ellen Johnson said it becoming the first female president for Liberia, even the first female president in Africa, if I don't make a mistake, is an encouragement to all women across the continent of Africa that they themselves can take that step and become president. And when Helen became president, so other countries are producing female president, and even females begin to take the step to participate in politics and start taking government position at a higher level. So the election, the number of females we are seeing is encouraging, and that number will also encourage young women to keep pushing that political ambition, those that want to participate in politics. And Madam Harry Johnson said it, former president, her position encouraged many young Liberian women to participate in election or in politics in Liberia.
Right. So as a Liberian, I know you live in Dakar, but I know you visit home. So what are some of the concerns you would like to be addressed? What do you want to be addressed in the country, especially as far as voting is concerned? Because you have, cheered Liberians up to vote. Whatever they are voting for today, or whoever they are voting for today, is supposed to, protect the country security-wise, economy, governance, which is a
Health,
good one.
education,
Of course. So,
yeah.
exactly. So now, you as a Liberian, which is your concern? What concerns would you like to be addressed?
My first concern to be addressed is the security, because where there is security, life can go on smoothly.
Right.
Without security, there are danger. Even in the economy, you have an economy or better economy, no security, there will be a danger. So the first day, I will say whosoever that will win today election should focus on the security sectors, the economy after security, the economy, the health sector, and the education sector, because those are the major sectors that need attention. When you have a security system set up in your country, you attract investors, because no investor want to go in your country where there is no security. Because security comes with a lot of things. It comes with justice, everything for under security. So every investor get attracted to country of very good security system where you see you have justice and people will protect your business or protect your investment. And our economy right now, it also needs serious attention, because wherever you have an economy that citizens cannot afford to earn a daily means or cannot afford to cater to the family, even you can be paying the last skyscraper or even 5 or 10 lane roads, they would not appreciate that. The first thing, the people that love the essential things, that well-being, how best they can afford a daily meal. So they should focus on the economy, create job opportunity, create the means that citizens will be able to work and earn a daily meal.
Right. So, David, let's cross back to Liberia. We have Siata Johnson. She is a female journalist president. And then we'll be looking at what is happening in the country. But then we'll come back and then go deep into education, because you are talking about economy. You've dissected it, and we will come back and look into education and then health. Hello, Siata. Are you there?
Yes, I'm still
Right.
here.
Thank you for joining us on Liberia Decides.
Thank you for hosting me.
Right. So, how's the atmosphere where you are? Where are you? Where are you actually? Which of the counties?
I'm actually in Markibi, did a part of Monserrado this morning,
All right.
and I'm in Markibi currently, but I'm heading for Grand Bassa. Those are neighboring counties, and those are the 3 counties I'm observing and covering.
Right. So, Siata, looking at the current situation in your country, the election atmosphere, how do you feel?
Yeah, as a Liberian, I feel good. The turnout is impressive. A lot of Liberians came out, especially first-time voters and women. So all the polling places I've visited so far, I've visited 8 polling places so far in Monserrado and parts of Margibi. They are all, fully packed. They are all jammed. People are still coming, and the process is going on smoothly. So far, there have been no complaint of irregularities. The pools open on time. All the places I've visited, the pools open on time, and the process is going on. Just irregular human nature of complaining of waste of time, and just the being impatient. So they will say, oh, the process is slow, but it is moving gradually, one at a time.
Right. So, Siata, we talked about female representation in these elections or in politics in Liberia. What do you make of female representation, especially in these elections?
Yeah, so women political participation in Liberia has always been a challenge, even though we've produced Africa's first female president. So the rest of Africa think that, Liberia should not be having such a challenge, but the challenge is still there. Before the elections, the political parties came together. In fact, there was a whole law that was asking political parties to have 30% of women on their registration tickets, and then that law did not go through the House. It did not go through a portion of the House of Legislature signed. When it got to the president, he vetoed that law, so it did not go through. And because of that, the political parties themselves came together and said, okay, because the law did not go through, we will do an MOU committing ourselves to put 30% of women on our tickets. But unfortunately, when the registration time came and the register at the National Election Commission, it was less. Only one political party, which is a very small political party, had met that 40%. In fact, 30%. In fact, they met the 30% and plus. So that was the only party, the big leading political parties that people were looking forward to. They all did not meet the 30%. That was frustrating for women political participation, but we still encourage women to get out to vote, because women political participation, not just women running as leaders, even women getting out to vote, women registering, women being part of the campaign process. So we encourage women to get out to vote. And as I said earlier, from the look of things, a lot of women have come out, elderly women, young women, pregnant women, lactating mothers. You see them in the lines with their young babies. So the turnout is quite impressive. If you're asking me to compare this today with other elections in the past that I have observed, especially the most recent 2017 election, I would say for this one, I can safely say a lot of women are out there in the lines and they are prepared to vote for their future.
Right. So, Siata, looking at the picture you have painted right now, who should be blamed? Is it the political parties or the women who are not courageous enough to come forward to, vie for the candidacy?
It is the political parties to be blamed. Because the political parties have a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of bottlenecks. It's not that the women are not courageous enough. It's not that the women are not brave enough to step up there. The women are trying in these very political parties, but the bureaucracy, the bottleneck, the all sort of patriarchal hierarchies they have, and put these women behind. So the women have stepped out, but the process, so going to primary, they want the women to go to primary, and going to primary, is a lot of issues that surround, especially when it comes to finances. And we know in Africa, the economy, the finances are in the pockets of the men. So the men are the ones that take financial decisions. So they will go into all sort of manipulation in the back, and then they come to the primary, and the woman shows up in the primary, and then the woman is not she's not selected to get on a ticket for primary. So that was why they themselves, we didn't call them, the women did not call them, they themselves came up and signed this MOU and said we will prioritize, we will ensure that women are on our tickets. So some of the things they're supposed to do, they're supposed to make sure the primaries, the bottleneck, the regular bureaucracy around the primaries are lower. They kind of lower the bars to make women step up to that. The issue of women political participation in Africa as a whole is an issue. So we push for affirmative action, because women coming up there to step up is a whole cultural, traditional, or deep-rooted cultural issues. So the only way women can step out, that they have to break a lot of storms, they have to hit a lot of glass ceilings and break those glass ceilings, and they can be able to step up.
Right.
So we blame the political parties in short, and we also blame the National Election Commission, because the National Election Commission, along with the political parties, signed this MOU. So they should have said, oh, you signed an MOU and you're not meeting up with the MOU. Just XYZ reasons, and gave them some penalties, but they didn't do anything.
Right. So, Siata, before I finally let you go, so what solution or what can you do? Because you are a female president for journalists, what can be done to counter these bottlenecks that you have mentioned to ensure the participation of women in politics in the country?
So one of the things we can do is to continue to name and shame and bring these things to the public space, because it is natural and so unfair that they always blame the women. They will say, oh, the women didn't come up, oh, the women, but they know deep down in the root of it is that because they have all these roles and all these issues that put women at a disadvantage point. So we continue to name and shame them. We continue to talk about it in the public space. We continue to call them up and say, this thing that you just said is just for lip service. You don't mean what you are saying. You're only saying this so the women population can say, oh, XRC person. So in most cases, they bring women to the picture as a token, and they think that they're doing women a favor. I have a woman vice president, or I have a woman representative, I have a woman senator. So the women community can say, oh, this person is XRC person. They know very well they don't mean what they are saying. So we continue to raise awareness, continue to talk about it, continue to name and shame the quote-unquote big political parties that should be taking up the stance. And then it reach to a point that we will just encourage women not to vote for them. If you don't see women on the tickets and those women that are on the ticket are not there genuinely, don't vote for them. I think it will reach to a point that, women will be like, this is politics and we need to stand up for ourselves. So maybe we'll reach to a point we'll have a woman political party and all the women, there will be women versus men.
Right.
So all the women vote for the woman political party and the men vote for the men. And in Liberia, we are 51% of the population. So we are the decision makers. Because our constitution says 51% to get a leader. So if we are women, we are 51%. I mean, we are the decision makers. But sadly, we are at that level and at the lowest part of it. And on the list of 20 political parties, 20 presidential candidates, we have 2.
Right.
1,000 plus 1,000, I think 1,030 political, candidates as a whole. We have 153.
Wow.
For yes, the entire candidacy is 1,030. We have 153 as women, including the 2 women that are on the presidential ticket. So it's sad. So you have 800 plus people are coming, are all men. So the issue of women political participation is still an issue here. And again, because even women citizens need to understand that women, we are part of the population, and we are in fact the bigger part of the population, and people should take us serious.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Siata Johnson.
You're welcome.
Right. Siata Johnson is a female journalist president in Liberia. You are listening to West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal, and this is Liberia Decides. Right, so Darlington, our Monrovia correspondent. All right, okay, so before we get Monrovia correspondent online, let me come back to David. David, we were talking about some of your concerns, what you want to be addressed in the country in terms of health. You've talked about economy. So now let's look at education. What aspect of the education do you want you want some changes or some additions? What do you want about the education to be changed?
Well, I want for the education sector to be improved because the government should put in more form when it comes to education, because once you educate your citizen, you are building your nation. So I want to say that government should focus on the education sector, because the education sector of Liberia, we need more attention, especially when it comes to our high school, those government institutions, and even private institutions. Government should be able to come in with subsidies and support private and both public institutions when it comes to education, vocational, even higher institution. So in doing that, you are building a better Liberia when you educate your citizen. Because education is the key for every group of a nation. Once you educate your citizens, they make a better decision. They come about development, and even they represent you outside of the nation, of the country as a whole.
Right. So definitely, education is what contributes to the growth of a nation. So David, let's cross back to Liberia, Monrovia. This time, our correspondent Darlington Popper is on standby. Hello, Darlington.
Hello. How are you doing there?
We are doing great. How are you doing? How is the atmosphere like in Monrovia?
It's okay. The atmosphere is actually hot for now. Since this morning, there have been no rainfall for now. The temperature is actually warm here. Very, very hot.
Wow. So, from the polling stations, you are where are you currently? Where are you currently? Are you at any of the polling stations?
Yes. I just walk away like 2 minutes, walk away from the polling center to be able to speak with you. We just flew with the European Union Chief Observer Mission to Liberia just a few minutes ago.
Right. So, what are some of the informations you've gathered so far at the various polling stations you've visited?
From what we've visited so far, it just like other centers been reporting of delays in some of the areas where they have electoral workers coming maybe are not starting on time. The voting did not start on time to some of the centers. Those are issues we've been hearing. And then the issue of the queue controllers, we also observe that some of the centers we visited are overcrowded, very much huge turnout for people. And even the EU Chief Observation Mission here, he just spoke about it. Some of the areas you see a huge number of people turning out in just maybe 2 centers or 2 precincts. And then the number cannot absorb all of these people on time. So you see people are fighting in the line, in the queue to be able to really be the first of the line and be able to cast their ballots and go so far. But by and large, the atmosphere is actually cool for now. There's no major issue we talk about for now, but we've been hearing some reports from outside Monrovia. And but people, we need to get some of those information so we cannot just give it out to the public. But for now, in Monrovia here and the news we've been getting from other areas, it shows that the turnout is very huge and things are just peaceful for now.
Right, Valentin. So, due to time, we will definitely come back again to gather more information from you. Thank you very much, Valentin.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. So, David, due to time, I would like to give you some minute to say your final words.
I want to say thank you to the West Africa Democracy Radio Television, and I appreciate the invitation to come, that my voice will be heard once I'm not exercising my voting right, because I feel that it's the only way I'm participating in the election for today.
Right.
And like I said previously, whosoever Liberian we give that support to today, that individual should get it in his mind or her mind that the people trust you and they expect you to do better. Something that has always been a challenge for our democracy is corruption. Many leaders will come, they will make a promise to fight against corruption, but whenever they take the position as the president, we see the same old corruption practices going on. Even coexist. So Liberia is a country that is blessed with so many natural resources, and the population we have, our resources can even cover and we can even extend to different countries. So we shouldn't be, I can say, down and struggling for ends meet, even seeking for greener pastures in other countries. So I want to challenge that president or that individual that will win this election to live up to the Liberian people the challenge of corruption, provide the people security, their well-being, and change the situation that Liberians are facing, make the country better. Thank to all Liberians that are going out there to exercise their vote right. We pray for a peaceful election.
Right. Thank you very much, David Sunday Jr., for being with us in the studios. Even though you haven't told me who your candidate is, but we take it that way. Many thanks for staying with us, and this is where time will, permit us. We'll be back again with the fifth edition. My name is Tofik Abdul Nasser. Mustafa Sek and Maudu Juv have been on the console. And many thanks for staying with us on Liberia Decides 2023. It's a bye for now.
This is the live coverage of the general elections in Liberia. Liberia Decides 2023.